Jimmy's chewing. What? Are we live?
Go ahead.
We're live here with Jimmy. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm busy right now. Can't you tell?
No, you're chewing gum. Can you walk two at the same time?
Oh, no, for the comment, Jimmy? Somebody got mad.
You must have been waiting for this moment all the
Somebody
way.
got mad.
How many days has it been? 7 solid days, and you decide now to be funny.
Jimmy's going to demonstrate.
I just realized that. Did I tell you about that, Jimmy?
What?
Somebody said something last time.
You did that so nicely, Jimmy. It looks like you were walking down the red carpet on your way to receive the award.
Yeah, actually into the restaurant where you're going to pay for dinner.
Somebody said on one of the last shows, please don't you ever chew gum again.
Oh, Jimmy.
Well, guess what? You get a treat today.
But you know what that sounds like? It sounds
Jimmy,
like,
I'm with you. I chew gum, and she's always telling me that I'm chewing too
You know
much.
what it sounds like? It sounds like a cow out in the pasture. Yeah.
I'm with you, Jimmy.
How's that?
Well, we're in a good mood.
Well, you know what?
Today.
When they have filmed a scene of a cow chewing the way you
It
just
sounds
said,
like me. Is that what you're saying?
No,
my voice comes out of the cow.
Well, your wife has to put up with that.
Well, see, I can do some self-effacing too, Jimmy. I can not only dish it out, I can,
You think you can take it?
Yeah, in my opinion, it shows that you're enjoying your food.
Yeah, there you go, Jimmy. You enjoying your food?
There's only a piece of gum, guys. I'm not having a piece of cheesecake. I mean, good God, man.
But etiquette has gone out the window, and I could talk a little bit about etiquette when it comes to seating, Jimmy. This is what this show is all about, getting back, reeling it back in. Now, they used to teach how to sit properly, Jimmy. They used to teach
Is this what the shit we've gone to?
And so etiquette comes under many forms, like how to close your mouth when you're chewing.
How to close your mouth when you think you're talking.
I missed that class too.
But anyhow, back to the upholstery world. I wanted, before we start, Jimmy, and Jimmy's going to read the YouTube things that we have, submissions. And now I'm going to read something that's very interesting. We get this from Gretchen, who is one of our big fans on the online classes, Patrick, and on YouTube.
Big fan overall.
And she had a good point. She's talking about how anybody can be an upholsterer in all walks of life.
Wait a minute.
Even Jimmy. Now, Jimmy is well, maybe we shouldn't mention what you really do in your spare time.
No, you can say it.
Jimmy is a supervisor at
You've mentioned that so many times already. It's too late.
in a major metropolitan transit authority, and they've done songs. They did one song. Peter, Paul, and Mary did a song about you or one of your fellas that you
they were smoking all the time.
But anyhow, so Gretchen made a point, and I'm going to read to you what she said, but before I start that, I want to mention that we do have some famous upholsterers. Sean Connery was one. In between being James Bond, he would pick up a Victorian chair like you did, Jimmy, the other day, and upholster it. I think that's how we relax.
Yeah, in between scenes.
Yeah. And now we also have the dark side in upholstery.
Which is my favorite one.
John Dillinger.
No, Jack the Ripper.
And Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
They were also
you like Jack the Ripper? I look up to him. I think he was the man.
It's definitely the funniest example of
John Dillinger. My God, I mean.
Well, I imagine John Dillinger. I imagine him.
I can't see him in a calm moment. How's that?
Well, I think what happened to him is that he wasn't a good upholsterer, and he was messing things up, and he got a lot of complaints, and he was miscutting and things like that. One day, he's in his shop, and he just had enough, and he walks out and becomes what he became.
He walks across the street to the local gun shop.
He must have never should
Can I have a shotgun, please, with about 3 boxes of shells?
There goes our monetization.
Wait a minute. You're going to have to beep that out.
They can't fly.
Oh no! Well, he didn't mean Jimmy meant BB gun or BB.
Oh, look at we all know what John Dillinger was. He wasn't exactly a pea shooter.
You can't say that anymore on YouTube. The G word.
John Dillinger, though, was an upholsterer.
Yes.
I think.
Hey, Jacqueline, we are located in Massachusetts.
I don't think he was a happy upholsterer. But let's get to Gretchen's, and it brings up Gretchen's point. She's making a point about upholsterers from all walks of life, and here's what she says. Hi Kevin, I'm hand stitching enclosed a cushion for the top of an attached cushion footstool to go with the chair and cushion I needed, the wing class chair to help, which she purchased the wing class. If you're wondering what that is, that's our online class. You can get that at Upholstery on Broadway, right, Patrick?
Yep.
Upholstery on Broadway website. And I just wanted to take a moment to share that my husband and I are going to be part of a group of 60 professional singers backing up Andrea Bocelli.
Oh, baby.
Andrea Bocelli tomorrow night in Hartford. Our group is called VOCE, V-O-C-E, without the I in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting and just goes to show that upholsterers come from all walks of life. Fingers crossed that we don't get so interested in Bocelli that we forget to come in. I guess she was going to come in, but she never did. She must have just forgot all about little old me.
Yeah, so
Andrea
when she
Bocelli.
becomes famous, starts cutting CDs, you might want to mention us in passing.
So I just said that is cool. So
But
isn't
that's
that cool,
cool.
Jimmy?
Yeah, we don't get anything like
Oh,
that.
you know who else was in upholstery? You're not going to believe this.
Go ahead, tell me.
You might not believe this.
All right, go ahead.
The most unlikely person in the world, Pamela Anderson, was an upholsterer. It's one of her hobbies.
Really?
Pamela Anderson, do you believe that, Jimmy?
I mean, they never talk about some of these things. They never talk about the... They always talk the professional side of actors and
Right.
singers and so on, and they never get into, oh, so-and-so's, he does this
On
on
the side, you know?
Yeah,
on the
you know,
side,
he has
sure.
this is what he does. This is what he does on his off days. He's with an animal shelter. He does this. He does that.
Well, I always felt upholstery is a good therapy. Now, you've been doing upholstery for a while. Has it calmed your nerves, Jim?
No, actually, I'm still a psychotic as
That wasn't the right
Anything
answer.
more.
Yeah, maybe even more. There you go.
No, I taught it for 6 years as a therapy to people. The upholstery as a therapy.
Well, right, because I mean, but you know what? When you're teaching, you have to be on a different level of maturity, different level of patience. Because
Do you know anybody like that?
no, without some added benefits. No, but seriously, I mean, you're in a different sliding
Yeah.
scale. We're all adults, but
Yeah.
still, in this world, we
Yeah,
are all
Randy.
in different sliding scales of learning.
Sure.
So, just the way it goes.
I like that thought, yeah. Do you want to, is there any questions or comments, Patrick, or did we get kicked off the air?
I've been keeping up with it.
No,
Randy's here.
Hi, Randy.
Thank God Randy's there. Oh my God, he can save the show now.
Well, Jimmy's going to read the YouTube comments.
Okay, this is on the upholstery quick tip, repairing coil springs from the top. Do you have a video on replacing the springs rather than tying? I've got two glider rockers with springs that seem to be breaking off.
Well, if she's talking about a glider rocker, she's probably talking about zigzag springs,
Oh,
not coil springs. Did she say coil springs?
yes.
She did. Coil spring.
Video on replacing the springs rather than tying.
She doesn't say coil or zigzag. She doesn't specify. But
Uh,
she's talking about tying, so I assumed it was a coil spring from that. But glider
Yeah.
rockers usually don't have coil springs.
they're usually like on a set.
Yeah.
right there.
Well, they just a zigzag like this spring with a clip on each end and a couple of big tacks. And the stretch really tight. It's not a great application. It sounds to me like one's broken. So the best thing she can do on something like that is usually when you have a zigzag spring, you can't do coil springs because there's not enough wood stock. The not wood stock where you lost your mind, Jimmy. What I mean by wood stock is how thick the stock of the wood is.
I got that one, you bastard.
I like my own jokes, but you can't.
I don't know. Do you think you could sell out your own show? Probably not.
All right.
So
So I think the best thing she can do is maybe clip all the zigzag springs off if she can. If she can't, just the one that's broken, and then go from just put a filler in there, like a foam filler, and web the bottom. There's not much she can do unless she's really willing to take the whole thing apart and go back to a zigzag spring. I don't think she should do that because I don't think it's going to be worth it.
Okay.
Okay?
The next one is the making rollover arm caps. This is thank you so much for this. However, I'm still a little perplexed on how to attach the smaller piece to the larger piece. Would you please show this step exactly? This is from Estelle Stone 5322, 2 days ago.
I think I would suggest to her to look at the other videos by some of the online classes. because we just can't answer all. We just can't do a video for every request, right, Patrick?
Well, it's too bad we
get
didn't
so
have
many
something.
of them.
Yeah, I mean,
No, some of them we already have.
Yeah,
We're
we have them.
browsing
I'm sure in our library. How many videos do we have, Pat? It brings up a good point.
Over 400.
Over 400 videos, Jimmy. Not all featuring Jimmy, unfortunately.
yeah, I think we should probably do those over.
But of those 400, I'm sure if she searches our YouTube channel, she probably will find the answer to that.
Well, she got an idea how to.
Yeah.
Again, this is the making rollover arm caps. This is from Marie rather. She says excellence tutorial.
Oh, that's right. We got 2 comments on the same that was, I would consider an abstract video, Pat, we did a long time ago, too.
Mm-hmm.
The Upholstery Show, obviously live last week. Great show today, informative and funny as always.
Jimmy, you weren't here.
Oh. Oh.
He was.
I'm just kidding.
That's okay. Making you're making rollover arm cap show seems.
Wow,
to be
3 of them. What's that about, Patrick?
I don't know.
This is a good one.
Wow,
I want.
rollover.
This is from Maud Tweedy, 9986.
Tweedy?
A couple weeks ago. I want to know, how do we fix in leather sofas? Pins will damage, so can you give an idea?
What's damaged?
Leather. How do we fix the pins?
Yeah, I think they're talking about faux leather that's been shaving off, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Oh, okay.
It's just it's inferior. I
Inferior.
I just got an inquiry on a leather wing chair they want me to do. I'm not doing leather right now because I don't think the quality's there right now.
Really?
Yeah, and not since before COVID. It was fine. After COVID, since COVID, I haven't seen great quality. And faux leather, I just think is not a good idea at all. Faux leather, if it's a faux leather. Real leathers last 80 to 100 years.
Right.
Faux leather lasts 5 years if you're lucky.
Well, I always remember that woman we had in one of the classes where she was doing, I believe it was dining room chairs with fake leather. And you were kind of like, oh, okay,
Well,
let's see what the. But I mean, again, material, so it
Yeah.
was just. And I mean, listening to you saying, oh, it's not real leather. Oh, well, okay, well, now I know already that it's not going to be,
I mean, right now I'd take a performance fabric over leather for durability and wearability. At least I know what it's got. The performance is. That when they say 70,000 double rubs on a performance fabric and soil stain repellent, I know I can see the fiber content and everything. All the information is there.
right.
Leather, you just don't get that.
Well, there is a place that
In my opinion.
that I've gone and haven't gone up in a couple of years now because I've been having extra fabric around me. But they sell leather, and I've kind of always said,
Well, that's
I would love,
iffy.
honestly, I would love to see how it's done because I know there's
It's really
much
iffy.
more work, and of course, definitely stripping it down was a lot easier. But again,
You can talk a little bit about leather. Leather comes 4 millimeters thick.
Right.
Millimeters. That's very thin. And most of the good leather comes from free-range cows, meaning if they're encaged in barbed wire, they're gonna go up against the bad leathers. The cows are going up against the and creating all kinds of marks in the leather.
right,
And it is the bottom 2 millimeters of the leather that's the desired. When they shave it,
Okay.
it's shaved.
right,
Or you can get the 4 millimeters, which is impossible to upholster with. And a lot of times you see leather being advertised, and it comes with holes in it, like it could be a hole in the middle of the hide.
really,
It has all kinds of barbed wire marks. You can see the marking on it. It's really terrible. You got to be really careful with leather. The finest leathers are very expensive, and they're the bottom 2 millimeters
okay,
in a free range cow,
okay.
and that means money, money, money.
Yeah, well, I imagine so. The next one is the, let's see, what do we got here? The making rollover arm cap again. Oh, I'm sorry, I just did that one. The Upholstery Show live. Thank you for another hilarious and informative video. I value you all so much. You are keeping this amazing show, this amazing skill alive, as well as keeping the waste and landfills down. Happy Valentine's Day and happy early birthday to Jimmy as well.
That's what I was talking about.
Jimmy has a fan.
I have a fan.
That's great.
Yeah,
Everybody.
it's nice that people remember you for certain.
So we have 26,000 subscribers, Jimmy,
and
25,999 love me, and then there's one that loves you.
Oh my! Listen to that.
can I stab him with a rusty pair of shears? Where are they?
Oh, just kidding. I do think that you're the star. I really
I don't even think about that, to be honest. Anyway, the next one, I supposed to show live. Wisteria is a beautiful purple flower from Asia.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous, but super invasive here in the States. So obviously,
We were talking about.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the color wisteria. We had some fabrics the other day somebody picked. It's a nice, pretty name, isn't it? Wisteria.
yeah.
So mysterious. And I'm glad that she explained that.
well, I mean, it must be obviously the temperature of the where it's growing, but
Yeah.
also the soil.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big thing.
Yeah.
So, this is the this one's a little bit lengthy, but if you want to go into it, I'll do it.
One sec, Jimmy. Randy says, don't forget about Jimmy's four-legged fan. No, we can't forget about that.
Which-
the dog, remember?
The dog.
What dog?
The dog in the store.
My, Jimmy, can you believe that? He talks about it every time. He forgot.
I forgot. It's so
How could
hilarious.
you forget that?
I
I
think
know. It's like
I
forgetting
think
coconut fiber.
That's like one of those Hallmark stories that you kind of elaborate on, I guess.
I have to tell it again.
Ooh, sorry.
What the
I
heck?
tried to throw it.
The audience is throwing stuff at
I know. They must have been throwing it from the street.
By the way,
I
we
thought I
haven't,
had it. I'm sorry.
we haven't talked about
I
our
guess
audience.
basketball wasn't your thing, Patrick, huh?
It was. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Jimmy,
Go ahead.
it's worth telling the story again because for those people who are watching who haven't heard the story, can I tell? Would you?
Go ahead.
Would you allow?
Do you want to pipe in some music, Patrick?
There we go, Randy.
Do you want to tell
glad
the
you brought it
story?
up?
You tell it much better than I do.
I don't know exactly how it happened, but when Jimmy wasn't in, we were filming. Patrick, were we filming?
Yeah, back when we had the old location.
We were in the other location.
Yes.
But early in the day, when Jimmy was at his other job, at his John Dillinger job, or his Pamela Anderson job, or his Sean Connery job, he was working away. But I had the shades drawn, and I heard this banging at the front door, and it was like bang, 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 bang. I
Yeah,
said,
then it stopped.
who's banging at my door? And I went over and I opened up, and there was this big Doberman pinscher. It's a little what the big tails.
Yeah,
Big
banging on the
tails.
door.
The tail, they were feeding, they were giving it water next door or something, and he was the tail was hitting the door, hitting the door, bang, bang, bang. So okay, so the day goes by. Jimmy comes in, and Jimmy's working away on his furniture. And the door starts again. And I said to Jimmy, Jimmy, that's your fan. He was here earlier. And Jimmy got all excited.
Yeah.
I was playing it up like, he really wants to meet you. He's been watching your show for a long time.
Then I knew it was a crock of crap.
Went over and lifted the blind, and there's the dog.
Not even looking my way.
Well, the other end of the dog was looking at it. Anyhow, did you finish the YouTube thing?
There's a long one on there.
Yes, there is a long one here. Caning to upholstery conversion. This one is, what an interesting video. I love it. I love watching a master at work and a patient teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment, Jimmy. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, no. Only when the camera's off. So this last one is this is what I saved for it. Pricing in the upholstery business.
Oh, that's an important one.
Wow, I am the lowest of low pricing here. Live 1 hour from Pittsburgh. Every year I say I'm raising my prices. Last year I had no customers. Who am I? I've been working at this since 1993. I did Governor's Mansion Furniture one in New York. Extreme Home Makeover episode
Wow.
224.
Oh, wow.
Wow, this guy is good.
I think so. Is it a woman or a man? What do they say?
User, no, it doesn't say.
Anonymous.
Yes. When I lived in New York, I got about $300 labor on a wing chair. My business was fantastic there. Got divorced since I relocated my business in 2007. I can only get about $290 plus $45 for the new foam set. I do all to survive: boats, auto, drapery, slip covers. This guy is like, he's the bomb.
Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't even charge full price for fabrics, but 10 years ago, I started charging full retail.
Yeah.
I have some bee-backer who love bee-backer, I'm not sure what that is, who love me and are always finding things to redo. I charge what they're willing to pay on the high end. A 63-year-old woman with health issues, but keep going along. Lucky to have home business with no overhead. Otherwise, I would have been finished before I started.
I have
where she's located.
Pittsburgh.
I don't know about that area.
Well, we talk about demographics a little bit in some of these videos, Patrick. I think we get into demographics.
Yeah.
You know, we happen to be in Boston, which is a high rent district. Now, the flip side to that is you're paying higher rent. So there's always that shell game, that catch-22. In Pittsburgh, I'm sure he's not paying any, or she.
Well, right.
She's not paying hardly anything. Maybe she's working out of her basement, which
But
cuts
still,
out
the
the
problem is
overhead.
she's not making money on
Well,
anything.
those prices are really like those are prices in the Boston area 30 years ago. 30-year ago prices she's quoting. So she's got a little bit. She's in a little bit of a pickle. The demographics could be affecting it. I would have to tell you that we work like dogs in order to build this business to where it is. I mean, we have 400 videos. When you look at those 400 videos, and it all adds to the manure. Is that what they call it? It all adds to the total scope of your business. Those videos mean a lot.
Right.
It ends up that those YouTube videos mean a lot. I feel bad, a little bit bad for Patrick. I can't directly put my finger on it as a dollar amount as how it helps, but the overall, it makes us, hey, they're teaching upholstery, that must be good for us. I'll use them instead of the other guy. So she needs to, I know she's 63, it's not too late. I think she needs to up her game. I would suggest, I teach adult ed at night, and I've done it for many years.
Right.
In the greater Boston area, in many venues. I taught it as a therapy, which I mentioned earlier. I do the YouTube videos. We do online classes. We try to do community. We do community things. We donate our services, right, Patrick?
Yep.
We did a chapel over in Natick, Massachusetts. Excuse me, but I think that it's a full-time effort on the social media end of things, which I don't do well, which Patrick does. If it wasn't for Patrick, I would be dead in the water right now.
Well, I mean,
so you need all those things clicking, Jim.
Well, you got to be really.
Including this show we're doing right now.
Right,
You.
exactly. Well, think about it. If you didn't have the shows, if we didn't have Instagram and Facebook, and again, that generates word of mouth. Oh, geez, yeah, there's a guy I saw. Yeah, let me find out. And people now have a little more access to find out where you are
Right.
and what you do.
Yeah. And
Versus like 30 years ago, you just had a Yellow Pages and took a shot
That's
at
right.
it.
And 30 years ago, what you were doing, if you were in a small business or medium-sized business, you joined every civic organization you can, and you're going out at night. You're going to these civic organizations, and your organization is donating too.
Right.
You're in the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
You might be in your local church group at night. You're doing all these things. Now you're right though. This has changed. Everything's changed. But it doesn't mean you work less. Just because you're the social media doesn't mean you work less. Now she's mentioned she did the governor's mansion. She's mentioned a couple of cool things she's done. She's got the platform in order to increase her sales.
But I think
and
somehow
get more money.
she's not getting the
So
exposure.
she may not have a Patrick on her side. I have my secret
that's
weapon.
it. That might be the thing that maybe she doesn't have the experience. I mean, you can have business cards and you can have an ad even in the local newspaper.
They don't work, the ads don't work right now. They don't work.
Even I could say we don't do enough, and we could even be doing more.
Well, we are doing a lot though, Patrick.
In terms of advertising.
I mean,
haven't updated the
but do you
Instagram in a long
guys
time.
every so
Well,
often say,
Really, Pat, you didn't update it even after I sent you a recent picture of
I know,
but
see?
I
I'm
think every
slacking.
so often you need to introduce something like you say 10% off on labor or whatever, 10%
I mean, even these
fabrics.
stories about your dog being your fan, they have a lot of legs. Randy's talking about it on a live show, things like that, We're not, anything you can do to draw a buzz I'll just tell people right now what I did. Patrick's probably not going to like this, but when I was working in I was doing this as a therapy. There was no money. It was a schedule. It was a 501c nonprofit. I won't mention the nonprofit, but we were trying to help people with disabilities, adults with disabilities.
Okay.
All kinds of disabilities.
Why would I like that?
Oh, because about what I'm about to say. So I always knew this, Patrick, before you even came along, that you need to create a buzz. No matter what you're doing, and if somebody else isn't going to create the buzz, you have to be the buzz.
Right.
You have to create the buzz. So I'm sitting there in the suburb of Boston with all these people around me. I got 12 to 24 people with all kinds of disabilities who are trying to improve their lives. They're coming to us to try to improve their lives. We're doing job training in order for them not to be upholsterers or refinishers, but to maybe get another job. We were successful, but we had no money. We had no money. So I hear of a story of that Babe Ruth threw a piano. He's not going to like this. In a local pond where I happen to live. So I said, wouldn't this be great? We can create a buzz. We can find the piano. If we find out, easier said than done. If we find the piano, we can bring it up, restore it like we're trying to restore these people's lives to its full playing capacity, and we could play a music.
Old Lang Syne.
No, the Tessie song. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was a great idea, except that we thought we found it. There was veneer that was found, and it just kind of blew up in our face because the reason it did is because the baseball took over like you wouldn't believe. The baseball, they loved it in the beginning. They took it over, and then all of a sudden it became a symbol of we could break the curse if we can fix the piano and find.
Oh well,
so, you know what happened, Jimmy?
No.
Do you know what happened? It ran away from me. But I still think to this day
that actually makes me feel better about the whole thing because
you didn't know that.
Well, that makes me feel better about the whole thing.
Yeah.
These people didn't know you were using this whole thing just for exposure for the business.
Exposure for the people with
nonprofit.
disabilities.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to do.
So all the time they were mocking you and saying, why are you doing it? They didn't know the real reason why.
I took a big hit. I took a big hit for that, Jeff.
So the joke's on them. They were mocking you, but the whole thing was to get exposure. So.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, that's interpretation. That's a big key.
Jimmy, you remember, you say to somebody, you say to a sports fan, do you know anything about the Babe Ruth piano? You know what they'll say?
What? Babe Ruth plays the piano? Really?
But the story was, I will just to finish up. The story.
I don't think you ever talked about this on our.
I never have talked about it, but it came up because of the buzz, because of that comment. You do things to create buzz. You have to create buzz. Now, so the original story that I heard in a local history book was that one winter, he used to winter out in this pond.
Okay.
And one winter he pushed, there were too many people, there were kids that came around, they used to come all from around here, from this community that we're sitting in right now, most of them came from this community to go see the Babe Ruth and to go see his wife. His wife used to bake the cookies and used to make hot chocolate for all the kids that'd be out in the ice. Okay. There were so many of them. She used to have them come in. They used to come, they were very hospitable. And so this time though, there was too many kids. So what he did was he took the piano, he put the piano out in the ice, and he played the piano for the kids, but he couldn't push it back. So spring came, and the piano went down, and one of the famous,
like the Titanic,
a famous writer named Dave Barry, said that just like the Titanic, the piano went into the pond.
Well, you forgot the most important detail. He was supposed to be drinking.
No,
but
we found out. See, that was what they said in the beginning. We found out that he was not. They said sports writers came over and he got mad at the sports writers and threw the piano in the pond. Like he was the superstar.
Well, that's all it takes is one person to say that. All of a sudden,
in reality, it was kids. They were being nice to the kids.
So do you want to maybe bring out your accordion and maybe play for the kids?
Well, I think as the story got, it's funny you should mention that because as the story got away from me,
right?
They were picking on me. And they said, well, they would have been...
It's that Kennedy kid again.
He would have been better off throwing an accordion, and that came up.
Picking on you, get that they know.
They didn't.
You know what? It would have been Too bad Jimmy wasn't around in those days.
Oh,
He
Jimmy would have been
major-
perfect. You
yeah,
would have been perfect.
asset.
You would have been my sidekick.
Yeah, taking me down with you. I brought,
Right, you would have been like the perfect
hey,
face
where's
for
that Jimmy kid? Let's go kick him in the butt. Yeah.
But I will say this: that 501c now, I really do believe that with all that publicity, that there, and we never got a donor that I know of. I was looking for a patron or two to come out of the woodwork and say, hey, look at the effort they're doing. Let's contribute, but it never worked that way.
Right, you were all over the news. You were.
We were-
You got the promotion.
Worldwide. Worldwide.
Well, the thing is, when people see the cause, and especially if you're trying to further it by further training other people,
yeah.
you know, then you try to say, okay, what's it going to cost? What do we got here?
Do you know that it became so popular that in Japan they recreated the whole story? A baseball
And now they
team.
brought it back. Hollywood brought it back, and what do they call it? What was the name of that movie?
What?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
But anyhow, we got off a little
We got.
bit.
I think it's been enough years. It'd be kind of cool to do a video on that.
Yeah,
Talking about the
actually, you
whole
know
thing.
what? Maybe we can rent some scuba gear, and we can send you out into that.
We had
Is
scuba
that-
divers out
just see
there.
it. We have the plaque. We have the plaque that shows the guy.
That's
There was
right.
no the video. The news came and took a video.
But there's so much to this story.
Yeah, you got to do a video. I think at this point it's been
we
long enough.
could,
We should.
but you know, it's only because
Oh.
she's what's her name? You didn't get a name.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It ties into.
It tied into
Yeah,
that
yeah.
where she's not getting enough money for what she's worth. She's worth a lot more than $390 for a wing chair. I can tell you that even out in a depressed area, she's worth more than that.
Well, you know what, too? I think a
Pittsburgh's
lot.
very industrial,
Here it is.
right?
Here's the
Yeah.
thing, too. You have somebody who probably like, oh God, I would like to have it done, but I really don't have that much money. So of course, she's probably taking the hit for not. I mean, that again, you and I job knowing that what a wing chair would cost here between $800 maybe $1,100 depending on the
Right.
material and that.
But that's the Boston area. We
Right.
didn't get too much into that. I'm
But
glad
that-
you brought that up.
But I mean, her area, even to say $600 is like almost a fair price. But of course, these people say, "Oh, I really haven't got that much money."
What
She's
she
probably-
needs to do is, I've tried things like work equity. If somebody doesn't have enough money to do work equity, things like that. She has to get more creative. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep at it.
That's the moral of the story is do anything you can to promote yourself, right?
They
And
called
that's
me.
what I seem to do to you, for you.
That's right.
You know?
They called me in my effort. They called me in the effort. It went on for years, guys, by the way. Sisyphus. You know who Sisyphus was, right?
No, tell me.
Sisyphus was the Greek goddess of useless task or whatever it was. But he was, you've seen him in Greek mythology pushing up a stone, trying to push a stone up a mountain, Jimmy. That's what it was like, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it is.
But anyhow, let's get on to the Facebook because
The
we
real
went on
thing,
too
yeah,
much.
we-
And Patrick,
No, that was good. I think we got to do an update on that pricing video. Because a lot's changed since
yeah.
2021.
You know,
We
let's
posted that.
include a little bit of what I talked about.
Yeah.
How to give people ideas in this business. First of all, if I was a woman like her, I'd be promoting Pamela Anderson as an upholsterer. That's what I would be doing.
Is that even confirmed?
Yes, it is. I would be saying, look at me. You call herself Pamela Anderson.
I think the only confirmed one really is Connery.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is.
I'm not making this up. What do you think this is?
Where do you
all
find
made
it? That's what I want to know. Where do you find that information?
Jimmy, he thinks it's all made up. That
No,
dog-
he is. They actually show he was one of the people. Pamela Anderson, again, like I say, a lot of the actors and celebrities who are out there, you never hear of them, you know, talking about their hobbies.
Oh, you're right. I found an article. Pamela Anderson, my ideal relaxation is working on upholstery.
There you go. Can you imagine that, Jimmy? Pamela Anderson, Jimmy. You want to read that, Jimmy?
Gene.
Gene posts some good stuff.
Oh my God!
And
What
you're going
is
to have to
it?
show that to the
We
camera.
have to hang out with her.
Oh, can I catch you up on these first? I just realized Malcolm.
Okay,
said
hi,
something
Malcolm.
about it. The biggest problem with leather is how much fraud there is in describing what it is. And
Yeah.
It is not leather. Bonded leather is ground up scraps with polyurethane top coating. Total crap. It's sold as leather.
Wow.
Yep. And then Randy says,
So somebody who really is thinking, okay, I want leather. I walk into a store. You really have to be kind of
One of these box stores advertised,
Right.
he just brought it up, Malcolm just reminded me, the advertisement was, leather everywhere you sit.
Yeah, actually.
The rest of it is...
Well, leather was. I mean, it was like in cars. It was on the furniture. If you didn't have a leather sofa or something, you were like, "What? I'm sitting on what?"
Right. Okay, you want
And
to?
Nico's here. Says hi.
Oh, hi, Nico.
Randy says $300 for a wing chair. She is paying herself less than $10 an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's not. You got to up it a lot. This is from Gene. This is a before plaid and after solid chair, and we're going to, if we can get a good picture of that, Patrick. You got
Cool.
that?
Yeah.
So you've seen this. I don't know. You want to comment? You want to?
Let me see. I just want to see. Jean's been She has been really proficient.
Now, where does she come from?
I'm not sure, but she has been proficient, and she's got all her plaid lined up. Plaid's the hardest fabric to use, by the way,
Why?
because it's a stripe two ways. It's a double whammy.
So you really got to kind of go.
Well, you have to match the stripe both ways, and you can't stretch the fabric too much that it pulls the stripe off too much.
Right.
Too much.
Okay.
That's the hardest part.
Okay. This one here too. This is a tore down a 1930 model A Ford bucket seats and bench seat. What a mess. Used a respirator the whole time, then took outside to blow them off with the air hose. Start the building back. Fix some areas of the springs. Bucket seats were in better shape than the bench seat springs. There were 3 layers of seat covers on this one. A lot of
Wow.
trash.
She's doing car upholstery?
I think we
Jean's doing car
we have to
upholstery.
find her. We have to
That's the kind of
locate.
stuff I want to get to do.
I'm impressed.
Oh, let me sorry. Let me zoom in on
I'm
that.
impressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? Who was I speaking to about that? Oh, I was speaking to a fellow employee. We're talking about hobbies, and I said, "Well, this is what I do." And one of the people I was speaking to knew where this particular auto upholstery shop was, and I said, "That's a completely different ballgame."
I'm gonna give a little trivia to Malcolm and Randy, all the professional upholsterers out there, all the bright brains, right? And you,
Nico.
Jimmy.
Nico's here. She does
and
a lot
Nico.
of cool stuff.
So in furniture upholstery, when we put a velvet on,
Mhm.
the nap has to go forward.
Right.
Now, I want to ask you this. See if you know the answer to this. In car upholstery, it's the opposite. Why? That's the question. Do you
What?
know, Patrick?
No,
It's
I
the
don't know.
opposite. The nap goes the opposite way.
it goes up.
Yeah. Give Randy, if you don't know, let's give Randy, Nico, and
About 2 minutes.
Malcolm a little bit of, see if they can figure out why would they put the nap upside down on a, I'll give them a little bit of a hint. Do they have any idea yet, Patrick?
Nothing yet.
Okay, give it a minute.
Why do they put the nap on, I'll specifically say on the seat upside down?
Sarah says, I always see jobs posted searching for auto upholsterers. There you go, Dan.
You know why? Because people love their cars. But they're like boat people. They love their boats. But there's a little cautionary tale here.
Okay. come
People
on.
who love their cars are really fussy about this, about everything.
Well,
about
right.
the car.
Well, you know what? Especially number one, if you were to say, "I'm restoring a car," you have to know the history of the car.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also,
You have to be a car buff.
you
to
have to. Well, did you? There was a show on years ago called.
count cars. I know that.
No. This is Pimp My Ride or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was fake, you know.
What do you mean?
Yeah, they proved that whole thing was. They sent it like somewhere else for it to get done. Everything they showed on camera, they weren't actually doing it.
Really?
Yeah, they did everything like.
Well, you know what they had one day, and I had a friend who had a Ford Thunderbird years ago,
Yeah,
and this was a beautiful car,
yeah.
but they totally pimped it out, and I said, yeah, to me it would have been a classic look.
And a lot of those cars were just, didn't belong to the people. They would do it and strip the whole thing after they were done. Because it was all
Really?
like useless stuff. They put like 10 TVs and a plate.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean
It's
about
so
it. Yeah, they were putting the speakers in. It's like, wait a minute, I don't want the speakers in my trunk. I
Yeah.
want it inside the car where I'm driving.
It was all done for TV.
It sounds like they were running out of ideas, and that's very we never run out of ideas here. Now, Patrick, did they figure that one out? That
Randy has one.
What?
He says, so you don't slide.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you
Randy
go.
got it, Jimmy. So you're driving there, right?
So he's hired and I'm
You're
buying.
driving there, and you're sitting on a velvet. You're sitting on the nap of a velvet with your, your derriere or your Maximus gluteus maximus. We don't want to use the other word that you might use. And you put the brake on, and what happens if the velvet is if you?
Want me to do that again?
I think, Patrick, are there any more questions, comments, or laughing at Jimmy or me?
These guys answered. Jacqueline wants to know where we're located, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, why don't we talk about? Do you want to announce now, since we're our new venture that we've started
And what's
here
that?
at this location?
Oh, we are starting now. Here's it falls into the YouTube.
Yep.
It falls into that question too, and so I've started to see a little bit of a shift in the economy. I think that more people are watching the dollar, even around the Boston area. So we're starting a new service, Randy, and for all our upholstery friends out there, you might want to do the same thing in your area that I'm doing. We're adding a page onto our website. You guys can check it out at Upholstery on Broadway. And what we're going to do is we're going to do more repair work, soft furnishing repair work, upholstery repair work. In other words, most people bought box store furniture. Let's face it, it's the only option for a lot of people.
Right.
So at about the 8 or 10 year mark, if there's not faux leather involved, we start seeing things falling apart, like the spring popping out, like she mentioned, and maybe an arm loose or something like that. So it's a lower price point, but there's more of it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna that's our focus. We're gonna be focusing on springs and cushions and stitching or trying to save an existing piece of furniture.
Okay.
So this is what we're going to do, and I have a feeling this is going to do well. We'll let you guys know.
Hey, actually, we could call the show "This Old Piece of Furniture." Wait a minute.
Isn't that taken?
I don't know. Where's
Why
that?
not?
What does that sound like, guys?
It's going to be called Upholstery.
Upholstery off
Off
Upholstery off Broadway. We're calling it. Jim. Isn't that clever?
You guys in the marketing department.
But anyhow,
But we've had a second location. We haven't been using
this
for
is
but-
we're sitting in the second location now, and it's called the People's Theater. So
Yeah.
it fits in nice. It's a beautiful building. It used to be, obviously, it was a theater at one point, Patrick.
Yep.
So it fits in nice with the upholstery on Broadway, but this is upholstery off Broadway thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. We're trying
And, Sarah says great for the environment. That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And Randy, good point. We should do videos of the repair work because that's the stuff people.
Ooh.
That's the stuff normal people can do.
That's right. It's our fix-up videos. We do have fix-up videos, which I want Patrick to post on this page.
Well, we already have fixing a pop button.
Right, but I think that this is going to be on steroids. You know, this is fixing furniture.
I mean, they're
on
already going to
steroids.
be here because you're doing it here.
That's
so
right.
We're
That's
filming
right.
here.
We're gonna. I gotta get this guy involved in this. I
Yeah,
want to
sure.
get Jimmy involved in this.
Jimmy could easily do this kind of stuff.
Well, oh yeah, he's got. Now, see, that's another thing, you guys. For you guys who are watching, saying you can't do the diamond tufted, beautiful leather, or whatever. I mean, velvet.
Not many people
back.
can do that.
This is something that you can do, and so we should actually feature this.
okay.
We're going to show people how to repair this furniture, make it last another 10 years, right?
Okay.
So I'm excited about this.
Okay.
We're doctors now. We're doctors of upholstery, right, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And veterinarians.
Yeah. Sure, do we have those surgical scrubs? Are we gonna get those?
Maybe that's a good
Speaking,
idea.
you just do a shout out to our latest customer. I saw the Yelp review. I forgot her name.
Sarah, not off the top of my head, but I was so happy to see that.
Yeah.
Those reviews are really hard earned, let me tell you.
Oh, you don't know her name? She posted a nice picture of the couch. You don't remember her name?
Don't press me.
I can
Patrick.
find it now.
Find it because
Find it and post it.
No, because she has cats, and she posted a picture with the cats
yeah.
on the...
Do you have a picture? Can you post it? Can you have Jimmy hold it up? Oh, is that kosher?
No, I could do it. I'm trying to find it.
Well, anyhow. So Jimmy, do you want to talk about this project you're doing? One of our next classes coming up?
What we're going to do the next week, we're going to put some cotton and we're going to put the material on top of that, and we will finish this up probably next class.
We should. We should. It's just loose cotton that's hand picked. We don't have to attach it, and then the fabric goes over that, and then the trim. Yep.
Okay, and the fabric's been picked up.
No, the fabric hasn't been picked up, so there's going to be a little bit of delay on this.
But when do we start next week, Jimmy? You want to tell everybody? Let's do the
Well,
preview.
yeah, we decided that we're finally going to do a sofa. It's a small. How big is it, Patrick? About 7
80
feet.
inches long.
Okay, so about 7 feet, and we're going to end up stripping it down and build it back up,
This
and
is
we're
our
gonna
first,
hopefully.
what was that called? Store-bought piece, right? Well, they're
Yeah.
all store-bought.
Stop, but what Jimmy doesn't know,
Modern, right?
we haven't told Jimmy the whole thing. We're going to start a new venture called Extreme Upholstery.
Oh, my.
And so
I can't have a serious
what we've done is I
conversation.
had a friend of mine who owns a carousel. He removed all the horses, and we're going to put you on the carousel, and you're going to have to upholster this on.
Poor Jimmy. It's a good time talking about his new sofa. And then you come
You
in
know,
with,
2 years ago, he had me jumping out of a plane with an ironing board.
oh, we've had you up in the sky.
Have you?
We've had you on the
30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Jim, how are you?
We've had you in Italy. Right? Where else have we had Jimmy? Italy, the
I
beach.
forgot about that, Jimmy. Extreme ironing. I forgot about that. Well, anyhow,
Well, I've had him on the beach.
you had him on the
You-
I
you
had him on in the sky.
in the
flying
sky.
through the air.
Oh, you mean you had him with wings
Yeah.
too? Yeah,
We
the
had him
wing
in-
chair.
Thank God that he can do this stuff, because you know what?
Where do you want to go next with your sofa?
On the carousel.
Yeah, people don't know what we're talking about.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
image
yeah.
that goes with these plaques.
Yeah, call your mother up and have her pick him up. She's just, I don't know if he'll get home on his
Well,
own.
we had a fun time today, though.
It was Barbara, and here's a picture. Does she mind
Sorry,
me showing it?
Barbara. Sorry, Barbara, but he put me on the that if you're watching, because I did ask her to watch, but I just don't have the.
She wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
would
no,
she?
go ahead. She wouldn't mind. Are you kidding me? I love the cats.
It's not going to focus.
As you know, Jimmy,
Yep.
cats are an upholsterer's best friends.
Yeah.
We,
Well, that's what I thought. How long does this thing have?
Well, have you seen what they do? Now they have some things that protect the corners of furniture, and they literally like a piece of plastic. And
they come up with these new things, but
well, what
believe me,
they're trying to prevent, because the cat loves the
believe me, you should never declaw a cat. That's cruel and unusual.
They don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. They get little mittens. You can sew them little mittens, but that's cruel too.
Why don't
so.
you take a crochet class, and maybe you can kind of. Yeah, we have kittens mittens for every purchase of over $500.
Randy says, what would you tie back springs with? Ruby twine or button twine?
You know, it's funny. Ruby twine's too thick. As I think Randy's just adding a little content here. I think he knows that ruby twine's too thick for backs. So the nylon twine is fine. They used to use the cotton twine, the light cotton twine, but I've never ruby twine. It's too thick. I think.
Well, Malcolm has a good point here about it. So he's working on cars with airbags in the seats is a huge liability, legal liability.
Oh yeah,
Many
yeah.
trimmers will not work with them. I never thought about how many, Malcolm, you would know, how many new models have airbags in the seats?
Oh.
I never really-
Well, that brings up another story. I want to tell this story. I can answer that a little bit. I saw an accident. This is what happened, Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm going to work one morning. It's pitch black. It's early. It's like 4 in the morning. I was doing something else before. And I was going by a wooded area in my town. And I look over into the woods and I see a red light, just one red light. And I'm saying, I went by and I'm saying to myself, that one red light, that light's not supposed to be there. I knew there wasn't a driveway in there. It looked like a tail light. So I went back and I looked down this little ravine and I see a car up in the woods, up on its side.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom of the car is facing me. And so I get on, I said, hello, is there anybody down there? And I heard a woman's voice say, I'm here. And so I got on the 911 and I said, you got an overturned car. I told him where it was. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to see if I can help. So I had the 911 operator on as I was going down. And she says, is anybody hurt? I said, I don't know yet. I go on the other side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Her head is outside the passenger side. She's standing somehow. She didn't have a seatbelt on. I knew that because her body was upright.
Okay.
And all around her, Jimmy,
Mm-hmm.
were airbags.
Oh wow.
And the only thing, she had one hand out like this. And I said, are you okay? Can you move your fingers? She says, yeah, I can move my fingers. She said, I feel fine. The airbags were all around her. And I said, well, I have the police are coming. I said, would you like to hold my hand? You know, it's pitch black. I figured, would you want to hold my hand before they come? She said, no. She didn't want to hold my hand.
Well,
But the reason I tell the story
you
is...
still got credit. You still got credit for what you did, because you realize how many people would have just ignored that.
Well, she was lucky. I was going by, I think I was put there because when the police came, I said, she's very lucky. Because when the sun came up, you wouldn't see the red light, even if you knew there wasn't supposed to be a red light there.
Right, because it would have been.
And she would have been trapped. She
for hours.
couldn't move. She might have been there days.
Yeah.
So
Malcolm
that's
has a good leather story here. He says, I recently quoted a doctor to have his leather couch re-dyed and repaired. He likely didn't go for it and bought new.
Yeah, see, we're always challenged by the new box stores because, I know somebody that bought a recliner from Vietnam, and they only paid $600 for that recliner. But there's a lot of labor in that recliner. $600 of labor, it's like pennies. It's like slave labor, if you ask me. There's probably an estimated 100 hours of labor in that. It's a double recliner these people had.
Look what we have. Oh.
And I'm talking about that.
It's talking,
but how can you afford? How can you pay something $600 for something that's shipped from in a container ship that's from overseas?
In all fairness, we paid $1,000.
All right, 1,000, but still, I mean, that's what we're up against. That's the competition. But anyhow, I think we've gone on a little bit.
Well, I wanted to say, is that partly why we don't do leather anymore?
Right.
Based off Malcolm's comment there.
Yeah, right. That's right. Well, anyhow, I think, Patrick, any more questions or comments? Because we should close this out. We've done this. How long we've been on?
Yeah. Well, how long you been on?
Well,
I've been wanting to get the hell out of here about a half hour ago.
A lot of these questions will be
He
answered.
said H-E-double-L. Now we're going to be monetized or whatever. Or
Yeah,
demonized,
Nielsen
or
ratings
whatever.
will look down on us.
What do they call that? Demonize or monetize? Demonize. Yeah.
Demonize. Yeah.
Demonetized.
It's all over Facebook. And all of a sudden, everybody's a demon.
Let's just put it this way. Once we start this thing next week, a lot of these questions will be answered about the way they put these things together. Right,
All
Jimmy?
right.
We're going to see that. We get this thing apart.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Jimmy, thank you for coming.
Yeah, the check's at the door. Is that what you said? Again.
Don't trip on the way out.
I think he wants us to get out of here.
Say hi to your dog friend out there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
See you
All
next
right.
week.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Yeah.
That was a good show, Jimmy.
Yep, we did well.